Well, let's stay with the story and take you live to Mthatha now, and that's where my colleague Aldrin Sempier is standing by with Princess Ntando Dalindyebo, who is the Abathembu King's daughter. Aldrin, good evening to you, and it is on the back of the very comments that we have just listened to from the Premier, who says his name cannot be used willy-nilly, being dragged through the mud. What's the response from the Abathembu Royal House this evening?
Yeah, we will be getting the response now. Very good evening to you, Xoli. And of course, as you indicated, that it's following that interview that we had with the Premier, but earlier on today, this morning at the Premier's State House, speaking about the extent of extortion in the province and also some of the interventions that have been made. And you heard the call that has also been made again by the Premier that it should actually be the SANDF be deployed to various construction sites, especially to deal with this issue of the construction mafia. But then, of course, you also have this issue of the extortion and the so-called protection fees that are being demanded by certain extortionists here in the province. And currently, we are in Mthatha. About last week, we saw an incident where one of the people that have been accused of being involved in extortion, being shot dead, that is the so-called Chief Mareke. And after news had come out, just before he was shot dead, there was a meeting that took place. At that meeting that took place, where King Dalindyebo was at, he made the accusation that he is certain, and he also argued that he does have evidence to the effect that the likes of Oscar Mabuyane, who is the Premier of the Eastern Cape, is actually involved in extortion or a beneficiary of the extortion work that has been done by Mareke, who has now been shot dead by the National Intervention Unit. And indeed, we do have Princess Ntando Dalindyebo here sitting with us this evening to hear what the House's response is to this. Thank you so much for making time for us. The last time that we were here and we were speaking to your father, he was bemoaning the fact that he believes that political figures are involved in extortion and also being involved in protecting the so-called extortionists. Today, the confirmation that the Premier has now opened a case against your father. What's your father's response to this? What's the royal household's response to this?
Thank you so much, Pati, for having me now. Our response to the minister's claims, the Premier, it's simple. We are simply too busy dealing with the extortion that's been going on around the area to be entertaining the Premier. This is not about whether or not he feels like he should clear his name. This is about his ego, and he feels like it's been bruised. This entire time, the people in this province have been terrorized. He's been quiet. He made so many promises that he was going to deliver the military here to protect the people. We didn't see anything. Instead, he decides to say that he's going to be opening a case after the main person that my father accused him of working with dies. Why is that? Why has he been quiet this entire time? And we haven't been served. We're not going to be answering a lot of questions about whether or not we're going to go to court or what. We haven't been served.
So you mean to say that the police haven't informed you guys?
No, we heard it from the news just like everyone else.
Yeah, because we have confirmation this evening that the police are saying that indeed a case has been opened, not only by the Premier, but by the MEC for Community Safety as well, and Transport and Ngata in the province, because of the allegations that your father has made. Does your father really have the evidence to support the claims that he made?
My father stands by what he said. And he stands by saying that he will go to court and he will defend what he said. If they can prove their innocence, amazing. But that's not what they're supposed to be focusing on at this moment. They are supposed to be making sure that the people are safe and deal with their egos afterwards and deal with their personal issues afterwards. Because you need to remember that the king is the voice of the people. So anything he says, it's what the people are feeling. It's what the people know. It's what the people are saying as well. He doesn't pick these things up from the top of his head. And he knows these people. So it's a matter of, right now, we shouldn't be focusing on whether or not there's a case open. Because this raises eyebrows again. Are they trying to remove attention from this case of extortion? And they are trying to lift their own personal vendettas. Instead, they should be helping us with this extortion. And then we will deal with whether or not we agree after we are sure that the people in this province, in this country, are well taken care of. And no one is being taken advantage of. No one's food is being taken out of their plate by criminals. If they are really not beneficiaries, they should be helping. They should be on our side, because the king made it clear which side he's on. And if they are against him, there's only two sides. You're either with or against us. And we know who's against us. That's the extortionists.
Yeah, but does your father have the evidence to support the claims that the Premier, as well as the MEC, are beneficiaries of extortion?
He says yes. He will never tell me personally what kind of evidence he has, but he still stands by what he said, that he can prove it in court. And if they fight, they will fight, and we'll see who's really in the wrong.
Yeah. Since the death of Mareke, the so-called Chief Mareke, the last time we spoke to your father, he also distanced himself from Mareke's election to represent the people of Mthatha West. What's the royal household's response to what happened last week?
What happened last week is tragic. We can never celebrate the death of someone. That boy, that man, he was a father and he was a husband. He had a family, and the family is grieving. We can never celebrate on top of someone's grave. We understand that we had our differences, but we're not going to be celebrating his death. It's tragic, and it's painful to people that cared for him.
Yeah, but is Mthatha safer, do you think?
I would say it is, but it's not completely safe because he wasn't working alone. He might have been our main kingpin, but there are people behind him that were fueling his energy. There were people who were the wind beneath his wings.
Yeah.
And those people were powerful because he was in and out of prison with no cases being built against him. But people were reporting him, saying, this guy, he's doing this, he's doing this. He goes to prison, in a matter of a week, he's out. Back to it again. He was highly connected.
When we spoke to him just before he was shot and killed, he spoke of a certain Noma Italy. I don't know, have you ever heard this name? Does this name ring a bell?
Yes.
Who is Noma Italy to you? What do you understand of Noma Italy, and perhaps maybe even the role that Noma Italy would have played, allegedly?
She's actually one of the senior chiefs under my father. She's a chief in her own right, but we're not sure which side she stands in because Mareka was always confident of saying, I'm not under Kumkani, I'm under Noma Italy. But who is Noma Italy under? She's under Kumkani. She's come to the house a couple times. I call her Ma. My father, he appreciates her as much as he can. But when it comes to matters like this, we need to know where we stand with each other. Because we don't know whether she supported him or not. She never had anything to say when it came to him. And that's just...
Yeah. Would you say that your father never asked her as well?
I can say that.
He's never asked her about the allegations that she is involved in the racketeering that was being carried out by Mareke?
I can say that because she wasn't really involved in the resolutions we tried to come up with. Mareke has been into this home many a times. My father has tried to speak to him, has called the chiefs that he said placed him, and told those chiefs, Mareke is not a chief. He has no right to be a chief. Whether or not he was voted by the people, that area has a chief that was born. So you cannot just elect a chief because you feel like there's no chief there. There is a chief, and that chief needs to be respected.
Okay, Princess Ntando, in conclusion, Parliament today, we're debating a motion that has been brought by the EFF for an ad hoc committee to be set up, a specialized committee by Parliament that is going to investigate the extent of extortion. As the royal household, where do you stand around that? Do you think that Parliament should be doing that? Do you believe that enough is being done to stem out extortion?
We think the setting up of the committee would be a great initiative because we need it. It's not just a problem here in Mthatha. It's not just a problem in Eastern Cape. It's a problem all over the country. And not enough is being done. If this committee is set up, it will bring back the faith of the people back into Parliament, because that's what they need. They need to get the faith of the people, and they need to prove to the people that they're not here to spend their money. This is not about them. This is about the young children that are going to grow up in the society and find out that they will still be paying protection fees, just like us. It's not fair. It's not right for someone to think that they can just stand up and decide to take people's money, people's hard-earned money.
Is your father still a member of the EFF?
Yes, always.
He's still a member of the EFF.
That's home, that's home.
Okay, that is home. Princess Ntando, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. That is Princess Ntando Dalindyebo, who is the daughter of King Dalindyebo. As you heard her express the sentiments of her father as well as the royal household when it comes to this crimen injuria case that has been lodged by Oscar Mabuyane, the Premier of the province, as well as the MEC of the province for community safety, MEC Ngata. Here you've heard the response, but also what they say about this application or the motion that has been brought by the EFF. And of course, as you heard there towards the end, that he remains a member of the EFF.